I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and I cannot change you, so I must replace you. Easier said than done. I thought you were the one listening to my heart instead of my head.
Wow. You really can't breathe inside those. Don't worry guys, safety first. I did keep scissors in case I got stuck. Also, don't try that at home because then you might die and I'll lose a viewer. Hey guys, Sad Boy Productions here and welcome back to another episode of Worst Rappers in the Game. And today we are going to be looking at Juice WRLD, an artist that a lot of people said I would love. So, is his music bad? Is his music good? Well, to get an opinion of it, I listened to the Juiced Up EP, Affliction, 999, and Goodbye and Good Riddance. And today, I'll be sharing my praises and criticisms of his material and ranking them against everyone else that we have looked at in this series at the very end. So, is Juice WRLD one of the worst rappers in the game, or not? Let's find out. And for part one, we're going to be looking at his voice. Juice WRLD is an artist that has improved vocally since his first projects, and that is a good thing because I found his vocals to be so lackluster on 999, which was one of his earlier projects. I'd heard people compare him to Post Malone, and I can hear that on a few tracks on Goodbye and Good Riddance, but on 999, he's more comparable to like a more bored Lil Yachty on some tracks, and a less polished Sway Lee on others.
I'm driving her crazy, you know I really swear. I'm screaming, please don't urge me, and fuck these hoes, all they do is irk me.
Then there's tracks where he kinda sounds like himself, like Let Me Know, but that song is just kind of annoying vocally. He had some decent hooks on that mixtape, but most of his verses were just not very spectacular auto-tune singing that didn't really make him stand out in any way. I appreciated that he had a sense of melody on most of these songs, but he didn't really do anything creative with his melodies on the majority of tracks. The only real standout was Lucid Dreams, which is actually pretty great sound-wise and undeniably catchy. It's weird because on his Affliction EP, his vocals sounded better, the melodies were more interesting, and his harmonizing sounded pretty great on songs like Rockstar Girl. But this came out before 999, so I don't know what happened between Affliction and that project, because his vocals took a sharp decrease. However, whilst his vocals still aren't perfect, and I do still have issues with it, his voice and delivery has improved a hell of a lot on Goodbye and Good Riddance, his most recent project, and it results in some brilliant choruses and some catchy verses. Lean With Me is a track where I can actually hear the Post Malone comparison, and the way the background vocals blend with the main vocals just sounds really nice. It's also one of the tracks, in my opinion, one of the few tracks where his high-pitched vocals actually work really well.
No, is it over? Looking for my next high, I'm looking for closure. Lane with me, pot with me, get high.
I'm Still also has an incredibly catchy hook, and so does Candles. The album does still have low points, such as Scared of Love or Used To, which just sound a bit whiny, but it's good to see that he is improving. Honestly, I think he's nowhere near a perfect vocalist at the moment, and there's definitely a lot more he could do to stand out, so I'm gonna give him a 6.5 out of 10 for this part. I appreciate his more melodic style, I just hope he continues to do a bit more with it, and works on polishing up his vocals and adding some more variation, like he does on Lucid Dreams. And for part 2, we're going to be looking at his flow. As you can imagine, Juice usually opts for singing or sing-rapping flows, which is good because that's suited to his style, and most of the time, he does this pretty well. Again, a great example of this is the song I just mentioned in the last segment, Lucid Dreams, where his flow never really gets tiresome because he switches it up about 4 times in the verse, and that keeps things entertaining the whole time.
I'm just better off dead. I'll do it over again. I didn't want it to end.
I also really like his flow on the second verse of Candles. The song Golden has a really simplistic but addictive flow to it, And of course, All Girls Are the Same has a catchy cadence to it. He's not bad at all for the most part, but there are some examples where his flow can get pretty tiresome. For example, there's Eye Contact, Hurt Me, Lost Her, Pretty Boy. His flow gets old pretty fast on all those songs. One of the worst examples though is Rainbow. He raps like such an average melody rapper here, and it's super flat.
I'm getting faded, I'm driving different places, I'm in LA living life.
Again, it's a case of him improving over time. A lot of the songs on 999 felt really uneventful by the end because of the repetitive flows, but he's getting better as time goes on. I'd say it's a slightly mixed bag, but leaning more to the positive side, so I'm gonna give Juice a 6 out of 10 here. The way he said that sounded like sex. And for part 3 is the lyrics. And as you can imagine, this is where my biggest gripe with Juice WRLD is. A lot of people told me that they felt his lyrics were mature, but I just cannot see what they're seeing. A lot of Juice's songs genuinely sound like the type of music that kids in school would send to their ex-girlfriends to try and guilt trip them into getting back with them.
You're my depression, your first impression wasn't deception, you were lying, bitch I'm still flexing.
I get it, breakups are generally bad, everyone's been through them and everybody handles them differently, and Juice has the right to handle them however he wants, but purely looking at his lyrics handle the subject incredibly immaturely. His songs sound like they're made in the heat of the moment, something he admitted when talking about All Girls Are the Same.
And I was to a point where I'm like, I'm finna make a biased ass statement. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously all girls aren't the same.
But surely he can use his foresight, which he clearly has. He seems like a relatively smart guy in interviews. Surely he can use that foresight to see how childish these songs will make him sound in the future. Like, many of his lyrics sound like ones he's gonna regret after he gets over this breakup. But I wouldn't really expect anything different from someone who made nearly an entire album about his girlfriend leaving him and originally called it Fuck You Bella, presumably the name of his ex, before he quickly changed it. It just seems so bitter and impulsive. I'm not even super mature, like I'm the same age as Juice, and I still see an issue here. It's a shame because he actually does have moments of self-awareness, and if he didn't make songs out of what seems like spite, he actually might sound pretty mature. On some of the lyrics on All Girls Are the Same, he actually admits to acting out of jealousy, and it's cool to see he's like aware of that issue and that kind of character flaw. Also, on songs like Lean With Me, he shows that he fully recognizes the damage that drugs and alcohol are doing to his body. Whether or not he's acting on stopping that damage is something I'm not really sure of, but it's always good to at least see that someone is very aware of what they're doing and the effect it has on. Obviously, another issue is that a lot of his music makes him sound like a one-trick pony. Most of his songs are about substance abuse or women, whether it be breaking up with them or fucking them a lot. The Juiced Up EP breaks some real new ground though, as it has tracks about killing a lot of people and being the man. Completely original topics, as we all know. Now, I appreciate that he often puts emotion into his music, that's a plus, but it often feels misplaced. I'm gonna give Juice a 2.5 out of 10 here. The way he handles things is just too much in the vein of emo teenager for me to handle. This bar on End of the Road is pretty funny and nicely put together though, so there's that. He occasionally has some witty similes, but not a whole lot. And for Segmentio 4.0, we're going to be looking at his beat selection. Yay. Due to Juice being a more melodic rapper, he obviously commonly picks beats that fit that type of sound he's going for, which is good, but this can occasionally limit the versatility of his sound. The good thing about that though is that it really surprises me when I hear instrumentals for tracks like Too Smooth. I don't hear him change it up like that as often as he should.
I think I'm too smooth for my own good. Think I'm too smooth for my own good.
He actually sounds pretty great over that. There's an alright amount of variety, but there's definitely room for more. It also probably stems from the fact that he almost always gets beats from the same two producers, so if he switched that up, maybe that would help make the beats sound a bit more versatile as well. He does have some brilliant beat choices though, such as Moonlight, which has this psychedelic nighttime vibe to it. Rainbow is great too, featuring a similar sound. The beat for All Girls Are the Same fits the theme of the track really well too. The instrumental gives the song this sense of longing and sadness. I just wish Juice's vocals didn't sound so low quality in that song, because that stops it from being a good song to me. I honestly don't listen to it that often. The beat is great though. So, despite the lack of variety, he has a lot of great sounding instrumentals. Of course, there are some I don't enjoy, so I'll name those right now. One of the few times Juice does experiment and goes for a sinister sounding beat on Pretty Boy, it flops on its face pretty hard. He's so clearly not suited for a beat like that. It sounds so awkward. I also didn't really like the beat for Long Gone, because the 808s on it mess up the melody that Juice was singing and make it sound kinda out of place and off key. Overall, his production is mostly high quality, and he does mix it up occasionally, just maybe not as much as I would like. Still, he does get a 7 out of 10 for his beat choices. There's not really too many bad things I can say about his production. And for part 5, I'll be telling you guys how much I enjoyed Juice's music as a whole. Now, it's important to note that expectations did play a bit of a role in my enjoyment of Juice WRLD. This video is all about my personal experience with his music, and a lot of people had me expecting the second coming of Christ with his songs, but Juice fell very short of that mark for me. He could become a very great melodic style rapper in the future, but I'd need him to improve most of the negatives I mentioned in this video before I personally enjoy him. So, in order of enjoyment, I'd rank his projects like this, from best to worst. Affliction, mainly because Rockstar Girl and Golden are so good. Goodbye and Good Riddance. 999, and then the Juiced Up EP last, because singing about a breakup and drugs for a whole album is slightly better than not really having any direction. I hope Juice drops a project that's just, whoa, flames next, because I want to enjoy him as much as everyone seemingly thought I would. But based on what we've got, I'd just say honestly, he's pretty average in most areas right now, and he really needs to improve his versatility before I'd say that I think he makes good music. He's really just doing the same thing over and over right now. I'm gonna give Juice a 4 out of 10 for my enjoyment of his music. There are certain songs I'm adding to my playlists from this for sure, but he doesn't have a single project that I enjoy from front to back. But hey, he is still young, so he's got plenty of time to work on improving. And now finally, I'll be giving my final score to Juice WRLD and ranking him against all the other rappers that we have done in this series so far. So overall, Juice scores a total of 26 out of 50. This places him at the number 9 spot on our list, below Young Thug and just above Smoke Perp. I thought Juice WRLD would be pretty amazing, but he has a long way to go before I'd say I like his music. Right now, he's decent and doesn't really sound that different to me, but I do look forward to seeing him improve in the future. Well, that is going to be it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and of course you can subscribe if you do want to see videos similar to this one in the future. I'm sure this one will be pretty controversial because Juice is blowing up at the moment. I can see why Lucid Dreams blew up. I love that song, but overall I just think he's not a hugely developed artist. I can definitely understand why people like him. There's clearly a market for his music. This is just my personal thoughts on it. Next worst rappers in the game is going to be on Wi-Fi's Funeral, which was voted for by my sponsors. If you want to become a sponsor and vote for who I cover next in this series, just click that little sponsor button that is next to the subscribe button, or there will be a link in the description. It's just $5 a month that's done directly through YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next one, and this is CDTVProductions, signing out.